Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Abyss Paranormal Show. This is, of course, the founder, Vicky. Say hello.
Hello.
I did have a plan for tonight. It didn't work out the way I thought it was going to. So Vicky and I are winging this. You'll have to forgive us. Uh, but we decided that we would talk a little bit about some of our past investigations and some of the equipment that we use and other people are currently using and discuss a little bit about those. Um, we're going to give everybody a minute to get in here and
I'm
all
going to share
that.
people out. So,
Sure. Sure. Hey, Dina.
you guys think whether or not what questions you want to ask. And if you got, as I show the equipment here, anything you
Hi,
got to
Tammy.
ask about it, don't hesitate at doing it.
Yeah, no, Dina, that we're actually on a hold right now. So we're not starting until a few people come in. So, hi,
Yeah.
Tammy. She's like, y'all need to give people a few minutes to come in. I know. It'd be much better if we had an intro. We need to get an intro done.
Well, somebody I know bought some app and everything to go into it. We won't discuss that though, will we?
That's gonna. That was uh, that was a scam and a half. That's all I'm saying. If anybody's using Canva, don't intro. We need to get an intro done.
Okay, I gotta turn this down. Now that's how much lagging it is between the devices that I've got.
Hi, Jen.
Hey, Jen.
I'm yeah, okay. Yeah, Jen from Jen and Eddie. Okay, I was like, or maybe it's Eddie, but yeah.
Whoever. Hi.
Hello, one of you.
Yeah. All right.
We're gonna take a couple more minutes to allow some more people to come in. Because before we start our show, I would like to announce just something. Nothing important, nothing big, nothing huge or whatever. But uh, oh, la la la. Uh,
I was gonna
my
say
bad.
that really changed. I looked up and I seen that and I was like, what in the world?
So Jen, what happened was we went on to Canva. We were advised it's a good program to use. We found a plan that was $120 a year, and so we went ahead and paid for it. And then 1 month later, Canva came back into my account and took another $300. So $420 for a program that I can't even figure out because it's overcomplicated. So yeah, but
Have to
that's
get
not what they
Ruben in
told
there.
us we were going to pay. It was $120 a year. And then even after that, I went back in as like a new customer, just make sure and see if I misread anything. Absolutely not. They advertised to the new customers $120 a year. It was a scam all the way through.
Yep. I'm still sharing. As you can hear,
Yeah.
ping, ping.
Yeah.
I'm going to mess up one of these times and end up sharing it to 11 and link is what's going to happen. I just know it.
Maybe they'd be interested.
Yeah.
Hey, Jonathan.
Hey, John. All right. You
So
might.
I was going to say, we've got a few people in here now. So yeah, Jen, I would definitely advise you not to. Dina, I had thought about it, but I still agreed to the terms, and I'm sure it's somewhere in that fine print that I know I screwed myself. So, um, I don't even feel like fighting it. I just canceled it. I still have my year's membership because it's already paid for. But it is very complicated, and so I can't even figure out how to use it. So I'm hoping somebody who loves me will just do an intro and outro for me. That would be fantastic
Or maybe
because
your hubby could get in there and see if he could figure it out.
he's got the
He's got
time.
all this time,
Yeah.
to
All right. Hey, Joe. Yeah, Dina, hold your thought just for a moment. Okay. So before we start the show, last night, Vicky and I were on an episode with Jen and Eddie from Jen and Eddie's Paramythical Journeys. And I noticed that um, they have subscribers that pay. I don't understand how that works exactly or anything like that. But the thing is, though, is that I was talking to Jen today, and they actually are in a bit of a financial situation where they don't want to ask for help. You know how it is, everybody. We're all the same way. When we hit a rough spot, we don't want to ask for help. So I'm asking for them. If anybody is able to help them out financially, please contact them and find out how you guys can help them out. Okay, they have three special needs boys. There's a vehicle down right now. Eddie's source of income depended on that car, and since it's down, that income's not coming in now. They have another vehicle, but it's only good for local runs for like doctors and grocery shopping. But other than that, they're really kind of in a bind. So please, if you are able to, please reach out to them and find out what you guys can do to help them financially. Every once in a while, I'll have a Nightbot reminder come up to kind of throw that out there for anybody else who might join in. But Jen and Eddie, I just want to say, first and foremost, don't feel ashamed to ask for help. That's what we're all here for. We're here to help you all, just like you said, Eddie. It's all about love. So, I don't know if anybody will be able to help you, but know you can ask. Okay? All right. Moving
Now,
on.
that being said, I want to
Okay.
say something, kind of add to it. Jen, since you're in chat, if you would, throw the link to your show in there. And anybody that's in here that hasn't seen Eddie and Jen's show, go in and watch them. I have known them for several years, and they're just awesome. I really enjoy talking to them and just going in and sitting in chat, not even talking. I'm lurking. Yeah, I lurk. But, you know, and just but go in and see their show and subscribe to them. And that
I
in
did
itself.
try to I did try to do a hyperlink in my Nightbot to their channels and Facebook page, but it was not working at all. So I copied and pasted their links into a Word document to share, and apparently it's not showing the actual hyperlink; it's just showing the title. So that's frustrating. So I'm going in there right now um, to grab the actual URL. Give me just a moment here. Okay. Oh, look, Dina's already on it. Look at her go.
There you go.
Oh, okay. So Jen said she can't share the link because she's not a mod. I didn't know you had to be a mod to do that sort of thing.
Yeah, actually, you do. I didn't even think about it. Well, you know how to change that.
I am not in YouTube though right now. I'm in Restream, so I
Oh,
can't.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll
So
change that. We'll get that changed. Yeah.
yeah. All right. So with that being said, hello everybody.
That was our
um,
intro, by the way.
yeah. Hey, Joe. Okay, so tonight, like I said earlier, for those who were able to make it in at the very first second that I started talking, was I did kind of have a plan for tonight that didn't happen. So Vicky and I came together to kind of wing tonight's show, and we will be talking about some of our past investigations, some of the equipment that we use, some of the equipment that other people use, and we're going to discuss our feelings about those sorts of things. We highly encourage you all to engage in the conversation because, as I said, we're winging this. To keep the conversation going, it's always good to have questions. So, all right, Vicky, go ahead.
Well, I was like, okay, now how are we going to do this? I mean, guys, I got dressed and all this. What you see, I did not look like about 20 minutes ago. It was a whole different thing. And then I thought, well, crap, I got to dig the equipment out because I had it in behind. It goes in this closet here. But anyway, the best way
Hi,
I
Kelly.
know, well, hey, um, the best way I know to start this is I usually keep the smaller pieces of equipment like our radios and the rods and spirit box and all of that. We have two bags, and I don't know, I'll see if I can adjust it a little better. We have a rolling, actually this is cosmetologists or makeup artists bags. They are metal, very good for equipment, not worried about it getting broke or what have you. It has stuff. And then we have a big bag here, and it's just a big canvas bag. And it has some of the bigger items, but it also has, well, it also has our first aid kit, which we have a very extensive first aid kit. And I don't think we've ever had to use it.
Nope.
I don't think we ever have. I always go through and make sure everything's up to date, so to speak, in it and things like that. But it's in there. Um, the toys for the kids, that when I use the toys during investigation, they're in there. I might feel like digging in there and digging that stuff out for you to see.
Got it. She got quite a few.
Yes, I've got quite a few different things. But I'll go ahead and start with this smaller one. It has some of our more used uh, and more notable. People are used to, like the spirit box and stuff is in here. The top case comes loose. Um, I'm just kind of giving you a show of what we got, how we do it. And it opens up, and then this lifts up. And it's got all kinds of little shelves in there. And in the top of it, we keep things like our digital thermometer, which we do our beginning stats of the room, what the temperature is and things. We have unusual flashlights. These are our wrist flashlights. I use this a lot. I think Stephen
The
has used,
dowsing rods, especially.
yeah. But the flashlight's different, and a lot of people haven't seen them, so I thought I would get and show them here. And I think what I'm doing is putting a left one on my right hand, but I don't care. Watch it not work. No, there we go. And it just has just enough light where you can see to maneuver, turn spirit box on, that kind of stuff. It's very handy. It frees up. That way you don't have your hands full and have trouble doing things like that. We have backup power packs. We have actually two of them. That's if batteries run out, we can hurry up and plug this in and keep it going until we get something else figured out, which we've had to do that before. Okay, here is our spirit box. And it is an SB7. I thought for a minute I was going to turn it upside down, but here we go. It's an SB7.
I was going to say last night, I believe it was, oh, what was his name? Something Boder or something like that. The guy who was talking about numerology. I think it was he that asked on
Steam,
Eddie's and Jen's show.
Steamboat.
Steamboat, that's it.
Yeah.
what kind we used, and I didn't know what we had exactly. So,
Yeah. And it's an PSB7 spirit box. I think it's one of the first ones they made. I like it though. Some of the newer ones, they're more harder to function. Jonathan got one and he wasn't real thrilled with the new one. He said he kind of liked the old one, but not that he hated it. It's just he kind of liked the old one better. And it comes with, I've got a very small but very loud, and it is a Mohas speaker. And it screws down. It just looks like a little ball, and then you unscrew it. It opens up, and it is very loud for as small as it is. And of course, you just plug it in, and you can hear it. I don't know about turning this on. I'm not one for turning the spirit box on my house very much, but
oh
uh,
God, everybody be prepared.
yeah, yeah, because I learned the hard way, never hold your voice recorder close to it because the noise blocks out everything that's been said. And it's very hard to understand it. uh, can you hear that loud enough?
Yes.
Okay. But this is our spirit box. And by chance, if there is someone in here in the room, you want to speak to us, you can. See if I can slow it down a little. No. There we go. But it's nice and loud. I have gotten a lot of good EVPs on it. I don't feel that anybody's here, but it wasn't like I wanted to draw a bunch of people in. I do live a block away from a very large funeral home, so hey, you know.
So, before we go too far in,
Mhm.
Jen, it is an SB7. It looked like it was made by ITC something or another that I caught there at the front, but
It says it's a PSB7, and that's all it said. Oh, it's
oh,
ITC research device, is what it
and
says.
Jonathan wants to know what your favorite piece of equipment to use is.
Uh, I enjoy using the rods. I
I knew
really
that was
feel a connection quite a bit of the time when I use them. Quite honestly, it didn't start that way. I didn't even use dowsing rods until I think I made the ones I've got in 2007. And I was hesitant about using them, but yet I felt I should. And I just got some coat hangers, and I'll show them to you here in a little bit. It's further down in our equipment. Uh, we do have, yeah, this is smaller stuff, but I'm going to show it. This is our pendulum. It's copper.
I think it's so pretty.
I've got another one. I'm going to, and you know what one I'm talking about, Liz. Now, this
Oh,
can,
oh, I'm so sorry. Jen wants to know what the name of that speaker was.
it is, the speaker is a Mohos, Mohoss. And that's the only thing it says on it.
So Mohawk collapsible portable Bluetooth. It's Bluetooth capable too, right? If I'm not
Yes,
mistaken.
yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Our SB7 though is not. So
Right.
um also before we go further, Tammy, the spirit box, what it does is it uses radio frequency to try to pull in any type of phenomenon that where it's so hard, kind of hard to explain, but like So if you have a spirit in the room with you who wants to speak, sometimes they can be on the same wavelength as a radio frequency. So what most investigators do is turn on this white noise maker, which is essentially this SB7, but we put it on AM radio stations and run it backward so that it's less likely to pick up an actual radio sound and more likely to pick up a spirit trying to speak to you through it.
Right, and it does. It has worked for us very well. Sometimes it's not real clear, and we do have to go back. And no matter what, we always go back and listen, make sure that we're not misunderstanding what's being said. But there's been times when we did remember in the Kendrick's house, Liz, when you and I was using it upstairs in the parents' room,
Yes,
and we had
it was clear.
yeah, cat ball went off, and I was like, okay, and I knew that the mother, Mrs. Kendricks, had passed away in that bed that we were sitting by, and I asked if it was her, and there was no response. And then all of a sudden, I was like, I wonder if it's a soldier, because both sides had stayed and used that house as a hospital at one point in time. So I said, are you a soldier? And very clear, the noise cut, and it said, he's in the bed. And both Liz and I looked at each other and said, he's
We
in
were
the
like, the bed?
bed.
Yeah,
And
there was no disputing
when
that.
we ran it back and was listening, it's clear as day, and
Yep.
we've got it on, on the recording of it, an EVP of it. But we got to get that video. Do we have? We haven't went over that video and broke it down, have we?
That one was the one where our uh everything crashed and we
Yeah,
lost.
but we still have that video from the one
Oh,
we
because it
turned
was
to
a
Global
handheld.
Ghost Hunt. Yeah, yeah, it was on the handheld. And we
Yep.
still have the video of the Kendrick's house, Global Ghost Hunt, and we can take that apart. That, I think it's like an hour and a half long because it
Yep.
crashed. We didn't have a full 2 hours, and we can go and separate it out and let you guys hear some of the evidence that we did get. And
Yeah.
there, our next piece is, it's a coin. It's a yes and no coin. Let me see if I can kind of.
Let me hold on, I'll zoom you in.
Okay. It says no. And on the other side, of course, it says yes. Um, Dina Shaw Woman, that's in chat, gifted us this. And we have used it several times. I think we've used it in all of our Global Ghost Hunt at some
Since
point in
we've
time.
had it. Since we've had it, we've
Yeah.
done it in every investigation, I think.
Yep. And it's really what we like to do is, like, I'll work the rods and we'll work the spirit box, and somebody will use this and we'll have the K2 meter laying there, and we'll see if we get a response. And if the response is yes on this, to see if they coincide. But we'll ask some of the same questions on all three things, the rods and spirit box and this, and just see if the answers we get all are the same. And
Yep, that's what we use to confirm or debunk answers and responses that we get during investigations.
right, and it, believe it or not, it has really been interesting to see what comes of this. But that's the smaller stuff. I don't think there's really any other. I've got a bunch of little stuff, guys, but it's nothing, real exciting. I'm going to leave like the spirit box and stuff out. So if somebody ends up having a question later on, now I'm trying to get this, I'm doing stretching here, trying to get myself, and I'll move
Me,
on to, huh?
me too, Dina. Me too.
What?
Just responding to Dina. She said,
Oh,
I'm still very skeptical about that stuff. I am too. There's a
about
lot of
what? The pendulum and things? Is that what she's talking about?
rods, pendulum, and coin. Yeah.
Right. Well,
Because it is
quite
a matter
honestly,
of
it was too.
it is a matter of physics, chance, statistics. You know what I mean? So honestly, you can spin the coin so many times, and you're going to get a number of yes responses versus a number of no responses just by sheer statistics. So,
Right.
but if you happen to have all three line up at the same time, answering the same question at the same in the same answers, that's kind of hard to dispute.
Okay, our next box down, it carries and
Hold
it
on,
contains, this thing
we
is
have another.
just, do what?
Hold on, we have another question. We have another
Okay.
question. Kelly, we do the Estes method. That's something we just recently started to employ. Um, I'm usually the one who does the Estes experiment myself because of my hearing loss, and then the I'll have somebody like our last global ghost hunt. We used that experiment, and what happened was, oh my goodness, Eddie, 200 Facebook groups.
200
Oh,
what?
Facebook. He shared us out to over 200 Facebook groups.
Oh my.
Wow.
Well, good.
Um, thank you.
We may
But
have to pull
anyway,
you in to the show.
all right. Um, but anyways, we do the Estes method. We it's still a learning curve for us because we are so new to it. For instance, I think we just recently finally got some actual real eye coverage. We were using a bandana, so it wasn't the best, but it
Yeah.
did block out the light. And then we started employing the SB7 in my ears with noise canceling headphones over it so that if something comes through, we know it wasn't an outside source. And because of my hearing loss, I'm very much, if I hear it, then it happened because I can't hear shit. I just cannot. It's awful. We can be having a regular conversation, and I'm just gonna be like, "What?" You know, no idea what anybody says. So if I hear it, then it's definitely something that came through. So
Right, right. So and I remember when we worked the Ball Mansion in Webb City, and you were at the top of the stairs,
yes,
and we had been aware there had been a fire upstairs at one point in time, but it came it through, and you said something about a fire. She was sitting on the top of the landing at the top of the stairs, and Stephen was asking questions, and he said something about I can't remember exactly what he asked, but anyway, it came back as something about the fire. There was a fire, and I was like, okay, that's the first time that we've gotten an actual connection to something there.
right,
I can't say, that that's what she was talking about, but it's the first time I could say that there was an honest connection there on
right.
something, because we really didn't get anything at the Kendrick's house on the Estes method. But yeah, that's something we just started. Well, it's been about 2 years, hasn't it, Liz, that we
Uh,
started doing it, but then we kind of backed off of it for a little bit, and
Yeah, I don't
we
even know if it's been that long because it's. I know because
oh,
we've only really done it twice, and um, it seemed to be successful at the morgue. That one seemed
right.
to have been.
Well, that's the third place then. You did the morgue, we did the Ball Mansion, we did Kendrick's house
Oh,
upstairs.
then I guess there was
So
three.
there's three of them. And see, Kendrick's house was our first. Well, no, Wendyville was. So it was the fall of last year.
You're right.
No, it was the fall before last.
Fall of the yes before
Yeah.
that.
So it
So
was
yep.
2023, fall of 2023 when we started using it for the first time.
Um,
But
Joe wants to know what kind of voice recorders we use, and Andrea
yes,
actually
and if I'm thinking, what the world did I put it? But Andrea has one that thing we ended up
saved
taking.
us.
Do
It
what?
saved us. It saved
Oh
us.
yeah, I thought you said Jesus, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
See, I'm getting hard of hearing, I think. But yes, it did. What we ended up doing, because when it crashed, and we lost part of the video for Global Ghost Hunt. What we managed to save had absolutely no audio. So we took Andrea's voice recorder, and you got to understand this house was old. It was built in the 1800s, and the rooms were very big. And she was
Huge.
kind of in the center room downstairs, though. So that helped a lot. Um,
Actually, she was in the dining room. Think about it. There was the main living room, then you had your foyer, and then the other side of the house, and she was on
that
that
was
other
she
side.
was in the dining room, but that was kind of center of the house because, well, no, because it was at that one end, wasn't it? The dining room was okay,
Yeah.
but it was like the voice recorder was sitting right next to Liz, and she was in the parlor and stuff. And it was like it was right there. You could hear her playing all of us. And she took it upstairs for them to do the kids' room. Well, um, it was picking up clear across to the other side of the house in the parents' room. And that's where we got the EVP. Remember?
Yep. We were able to literally sync up the well, it wasn't perfect. I have to say it
No,
wasn't perfect,
no.
but we were able to use the sound from the voice recorders to sync up with the actual video that we lost all the sound on, and that was our submission for Global Ghost Hunt. For the
Right.
most part, we don't think anybody even knew the difference. And
Right.
so we ended
There
up
was a couple
buying.
of times it reminded me of watching an old Japanese movie, and
Yes.
the mouth would move and you wouldn't hear a thing, and then all of a sudden the mouth would stop and then you'd hear the voice.
Yep.
That happened a couple of different times. But the
But
only
we
way
did
we
end
could
up.
overlay the audio is
What's going on?
okay, I'm reading in the thing.
Oh,
Okay. Um, but it was to go and timestamp on the audio. I'd find something where it would start, and I'd go back to the video and just timestamp it and have Ruben lay it over. And he did a really good job. And there was a couple of places that there was absolutely no mistakes. I mean, you didn't see the mount, they didn't get separate from each other. But for the most part, everything considered, it turned out very good.
all
Night,
right. Bye,
John.
Jonathan.
Thank you for coming in, hon.
And so, anyways, we ended up buying more of those voice recorders. Maybe
Because
Andrea
of
knows
it doing
exactly
like
what it
it
is,
did.
and she can add that to the chat if she remembers what it is off top of her head. But it was just fantastic. So I think it's probably the best piece of equipment we actually do have in the group.
Right. Well, it like we said, you could just, well, no, because the papers, I was thinking I might have paper on it here.
Joe, I do believe that your phone will work in an emergency, but you'd have to see this recorder to know, the difference for sure. Oh, there we go. Andrea says Gourmet,
Garnet. There we go. Yeah.
and it has microphones on each side of the
Yes.
voice recorder itself, so it picks up from different angles. And it has a noise canceling type situation too. Like, so if a voice comes through but there's a lot of background noise, it actually picks that voice up and lowers the background noise. It's a fantastic piece of equipment.
Hello, Andrea. I didn't know you was in there.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. We do use radios, especially if we're outside. This thing, it just fit perfectly with it. Our chargers are here.
Let me blow
Uh,
you in.
it's a Pixton. There's nothing else on it except Pixton. We have 4 of them, and I take the antennas off of them because I'm afraid that they'll get bumped and they'll bend them and mess them all up. But yeah, they're very good. They have come very much in handy, especially if you got somebody down. And usually we send 2 people together when we investigate. But say someone's sitting at the command center and they see something and they get on the radio and say, hey, what's over such and such area, or do you hear, we heard this, did you hear, that kind of thing. And they
If
really
you
come in handy.
if you have not watched the West Plains investigation, everybody, you'll see exactly.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh, yes.
it
Yes.
was so funny.
Yeah, and if Eddie's on here, this would be the cat ball situation that we discussed last night for a little bit.
Yes.
But it's very, that was the first time that, I mean, we had Spirit jumping from one cat ball in the bathroom to another one in the kitchen, and they was going back and forth. One would kick off and the other one would come on. And yeah, there's a picture of the voice
It's a little
recorder.
blurry. But let me see if I
I'll
can
put you
make
up
mine
full
bigger.
screen. It'd be probably better. There you go. Well, hold it back just a little. No, that didn't help either. There we go. That kind of get a little closer and
Oh,
do
you
that.
know what it is? Because I got my background blurred,
Oh, so you're blurring everything is what you're doing. Yeah.
apparently. But anyway, it's kind of hard to see. But right here is one microphone. Right here is another microphone,
Yeah.
and it picks up sound multi-dimensional. Good lord, multi-directional. And
You
yeah,
never know. It might be.
it may, it may. We don't know yet. We haven't tried.
But I'll get and kind of move on but yeah, if you can get radios, they are very handy, very, very handy. Of course, we have things like batteries, extra batteries. I do buy the rechargeable batteries, so much cheaper, even though it's a big expense up front. It still saves you a lot of money because, especially if you go to a location that's very active. I mean, they just suck the life out of your batteries, which the cabin
Yes,
did that, Liz. Remember how
it
we
did.
went through and I was so
Yes.
happy that we had um, that. Now here is, and watch it not, let me see if I can get it to come on because I haven't charged this. I usually, the night before we're going to do an investigation, I pull all this equipment out and anything that needs new batteries I put in, and I charge the old batteries that I take out of it. Here's this one. I don't know if you can see.
Oh, let me
This
blow you up. Okay, hold it up.
on the
There you go. Right
screen.
about there.
Yeah, I'm trying to get where you whoop. I got to do the opposite. I got to get back in the swing of doing that.
Tilt
But
it
this is our
down from the top a little bit. Like tilt it. There
tilt
we go.
it.
It is a yeah, right there. It is a thermal camera, everybody. So it helps to map out any temperature changes around
It
us.
picks
And
up heat on the screen and cold, blue and red, on it. Um, Honestly, I don't think we have found anything with it. I found a couple of things that I questioned. Um, there we go. I had to get it shut off. I had one other time I forgot to shut it off and it drained it, and we weren't prepared at all for it. But we do have a thermal camera. We do use it. Um, we used it mainly like in the woods, in the basements, um, things like that. I don't think we have actually used it like in regular parts of the house, have we? Or did you and Ruben use it in the living room of the West Plains investigation?
Rue, did we use a thermal camera in the West Plains investigation?
In the basement.
In the basement.
Okay. So that I'm like I said, it's in basements, but I couldn't remember if we ever used it, like in the living
Yeah.
room or something like that.
Well, in case he's watching, we have to give a shout out to who gave us that thermal camera,
Oh,
the clear.
yeah, you do that.
Okay. Thank you, Daryl.
Daryl, when I first started the group, he was our tech man. He ran the video. This is back. This is showing my age. This is back when our video was taped. And
Yep.
I'd have to go up and change tapes to make sure everything was going and everything. But yeah, Daryl was also just putting it out there. Daryl is my ex-husband, but yet all I can tell you is we get along a lot better now that we're divorced. And I see him pretty much all the time. So
They're best friends now. It's really
best
sweet.
friends, yes, yeah. But anyway,
That was her birthday gift a couple years ago.
from Daryl, yeah, yeah. And we've got one video camera. It's a new one. I think we have not used it yet. As a matter of
We
fact,
haven't.
yeah, we have not
That's
used
the
it.
first
Now,
time I have actually seen it.
I actually took the SIM card out of it, and Ruben used it in something when we did this last investigation at that business here in town.
Oh, okay.
A private investigation. That's why I'm not saying anything.
Yeah.
Which I'm hoping to maybe, and of course we've got cat balls.
Oh, let me
Everybody
blow you
knows
up.
what cat balls are.
Eddie, look at her cat balls light up. I told you something's wrong
Yeah,
with her.
they blink. Um, Now I'm getting into a little bit bigger stuff, and it's usually kept in the bottom of this. But here is my dowsing rods. I made them in 2007. The rods themselves are out of coat hangers. They're not copper, just coat hangers. I bent them and leveled them out. But one thing I've always questioned watching people do dowsing rods is, to me, it seems like they could be very easy manipulated. And I was like,
They can be.
I have
I'm
got
speaking
to,
of some. I'm so sorry. I'm going to say it. Speaking of somebody who is not experienced in it, she has given me the opportunity to try. I cannot hold them still for nothing. So
yeah.
they're easily manipulated.
And you can feel if the energy, if we're very active around, you can feel literally in these cans the energy, to the point that there's been times, and I think it's happened to you, Liz, tell me if I'm wrong, that I'll be holding them and all of a sudden they're moving around and then they just jump and they pop right
Yes.
out. These are incense stick cans. I painted them black. I drilled, oh, here we go again, Vicky. I drilled a hole in them. And in the very bottom, I glued a rubber washer. And I'll try to do this because, yeah, how things goes. But when I put them together, I do this. And I look down in and make sure that the end is down in that washer. And like I said, now I'm trying to do it there. And then I just push down on this and it just jumped. It just jumped. I was thinking it was moving. But anyway, it's in there. And then I work them, both of them. Now, something I do, I don't say everybody needs to do this. It's just something I do. But before I use them, I will sit and I will put my energy into the rods and just kind of talk and explain to them what I'm getting ready to do, and to go straight out front with them if they know if it's a no, cross over each other if it's a yes. And then after I put them together, I'll say, okay, is there somebody here? And I'll go through it again and I'll say, did you understand me? Cross over if you understood me. And they usually cross over. And then there's been times that they just go willy-nilly, and I'm like, okay, there's something behind me. I can feel it, and it'll swing around. And yeah, but that is, and they're homemade. I think I paid $1 each for the incense. And of course, the coat hangers, I had them in my closet. So, but they have worked very well for me, and I'm very comfortable with them now. My grandfather was a water witch, so I kind of was used to seeing him do that. And he used a willow branch if there was a willow tree on the property, but if there wasn't one, he used 2 pop bottles and coat hangers, is what he did. But there is our rods and how I made them and why I made them the way I did. And we do carry things, and I'm very prepared, guys. I have sage, and I'm going to get this so you guys can see this. I was like, oh my God, they're going to think, man, I'm really expecting a lot of demons. This is a huge sage stick. We're talking, it's about 10 inches long and about 1.5 inches round. But we're prepared, okay? But we have saged, mainly I sage my house or smudge people or, things like that. But I have, if somebody has asked us, I think we saged it, that one house we talked about yesterday,
I
didn't
do
we?
believe we did. I think we did.
Yeah.
So
And I do carry a bottle of holy water, but I've got to make more. And one of this thing also was gifted to us by Daryl. I really love having this. One thing, it's very big, so it's easy seen on camera. But I do believe that's the cord falling off. It's a plasma ball. And I'll see if the cord is long enough for you guys to be able to see it. It's a pretty long cord. But I have it running. I tell them to go and touch it. They can get energy from it. And
we can also ask them to use it to show us that they're there. If they put their finger on
and
it,
I show them how it moves when I touch it and everything. I don't know if you can see it very well because of the light.
it's pretty visible.
Okay. Don't know if you guys, let me see if I can get it closer.
Yeah, we can see
There.
it.
Now, in the dark, this thing stands out. I mean, it really stands out. I'll try to, there we go. Bring it around where you can see. One time, but I don't believe it was this big one. We had the smaller ones. We still have one of those. Is in the West Plains investigation. We had it sitting on the bed. No one was in the room. And the spirit had been moving back and forth between rooms. And then all of a sudden, when it quit doing that, all of a sudden, this ball went willy-nilly. It really flared up, and then it stopped. So we thought that, okay, it's moved into, because it was in the back bedroom down there. Now, all of this is on video, guys. It's just, you have to go in and watch it. If, we need to, I don't know, did we separate that one up in 30 minutes? I can't talk.
I don't remember. I really don't remember. I have one of those brains that, like, once it's done, it's like gone from my head. There's too much I got to retain.
But I do use this. I really like it, and I do feel that we seem to get, like when I'm working rods, that we get a lot more answers, more definite answers, and on the spirit box too.
If it were safe, I know that we would give permission to build to Ruben to build a Tesla coil, because that thing will put out the energy.
Yeah.
But they're extremely dangerous, so we use that instead.
By chance, does Ruben have that thing there at the house?
He does not. Hi, Tipsy.
My goodness, Ruben.
I know it's at the office.
Ruben also has made REM pods for us to use, and we've used
Yes.
them at the Wendyville. Um, it's not that he's making them to sell, guys. It's just he did it for us to try and see how it worked and what kind of response we got out of it. Um, this is our smaller. This does have our recorders in here. And as you can see, a lot of other, I've got two small handhelds in here and my 35 millimeter digital camera. But we have recorders like these and they work all right, guys. Don't misunderstand us. We just loved the response of the one Andrea has. And we got them, and we got this one. It's an RCA. The other two are the one I just showed you. Is an RCA too. We use this one quite a bit also. But no, we've gotten quite a bit of good on my camera. We've got quite a bit of pictures that was very good telling. And we got pretty good video, but all in all, we do a lot of experimental things, which I'm going to tell Ruben this on the show. I have figured out a way to vamp the candle experiment.
Ruben.
Remember, he had talked about
Vicky.
wanting to do old time
Yes.
experiments and stuff. I have figured out a way to vamp that and kind of do it a little different.
She said she found a way to vamp the candle experiment to do it a little differently. She thinks you'll be excited about it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. The last time, I think him and Jesse did it.
Yes.
Was on that operating table. But anyway, we had to watch. It's just the candle. Look it up. It's an old thing they used to do to ask if spirit was around, and they would light a candle and talk to them and see if it moved and have it flickered, answer, and that kind of thing. So
It's very imperative, though, that if you conduct this particular experiment, that you keep your distance away because regular breathing will move the flame, and
right.
so you don't want it to contaminate any possible real evidence. Because as soon as somebody notices that you're breathing, all out, all of it.
Yeah. Well, we just have to say it's contaminated, and we couldn't use it even if it was really great.
Yeah. Yes.
Also, you got to watch where you place it. We had a cabin, and I had thought, well, I don't want to start a fire in the cabin, but that cabin's very drafty. And I don't think there would have been a good room to try to do that in the cabin.
No, it was too open.
Yeah. And so, I mean, you just have to kind of watch where you're setting it up and that there's no fans or anything that were air conditioning or heating vents around,
With
things like
that
that.
being said, though, everybody should also note if you go to do an investigation, you should already have all ventilation systems off anyway.
Right.
Them kicking on, air movement, anything like that can contaminate everything. Dust particles flying through easily can be said that they are orbs. Wind movement causes something on the wall to flutter. You thought you saw some movement, you can't explain it, but if your AC is on or your heat is on, that ventilation system will contaminate your stuff.
Right. Right. And then there comes times like we did an investigation here a while back. We had to have the heat on. Fire,
I
you
kind
don't
of
get
feel like
along.
there's a story there, and I really kind of wish she was tell us.
Elaborate, Dana. Come on, you can do it. But yeah, there has been times when we've done, you know, um, well, when we did West Plains, I kid you not,
They
guys. In the afternoon, it was 19 degrees with a wind chill of 11 below.
it was so
And
cold.
but they had their heater going in. She had it like 80 degrees in the house.
It was so
But it,
nice.
yes. And so we was set up in a shed in their backyard, and we had a space heater back in there. And I'd put my coat on and bundle all up, and I'd beeline it for the back door to go in, and then I'd undo everything, you know. And I think, man, I could almost sunbathe in here as hot as it was. But
The plus side though is, if I remember right, I think their heat was baseboard heating. I don't think there was an actual
they had
ventilation
that one
system.
fireplace heater in the living room too.
That's
I
what it
know
was.
that.
I knew it
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
central.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, they said that they did better. It heated the house better and everything that way.
I
So
wouldn't argue with it because it was
yeah.
toasty.
But there comes times that you just have to have. I don't think we've ever had to have an air conditioner running, but I can tell you that. I mean, if I had to, I would have set a fire in their fake fireplace in West Plains. I mean, it was bad.
So
We
it
did
was
a
not just
segment.
cold, it was windy.
Yes.
It was
Yes, and of
so
course,
windy.
I had this bright idea before we go to do the investigation. There was an explosion in West Plains. If you watch the video, you'll understand the whole story. But there is a mass grave in the cemetery, and if you hear something, I've got a cat that's telling me he wants to go out. He's literally saying go out right now. But anyway, um, I had this bright idea. I'm going to take flowers, which there's nothing wrong with it. I'm glad I did it. But it was all sunny. And here Reuben is. He's got the handheld, and I've got my coat
Actually, that was
on,
me. That
and
was
I
me
was standing
because
there doing
yes,
this, and the flowers was bouncing. And I thought people were
I
going to think, what in the heck is wrong with her?
and on top of it all, right, we ended up having to get mics for Miss Vicky here because
Oh,
Vicky, when she's on those cameras, she's so quiet. She's so quiet. Well, I was actually the one filming you in the cemetery.
oh, okay.
And
I
because
see.
the wind was blowing so hard, I even put my hand across the mic like this to try to block it so we could hear her better. And you still can't hear a thing she said. All you hear is she turned her head back.
Yeah. But
um,
anyway, I froze my yin yang off, guys, and I was like, okay, we're not shutting the heat off, which they wouldn't have let us shut it off if we wanted to. But they did have no argument from me on that one at that
yeah,
night.
me
It was
neither.
it was bad. But when I said it was 19 degrees with 11 degrees below zero wind chill, that was at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. When it got
Yep,
dark, it was worse,
it
and the
was.
wind didn't slow down or nothing, and I was like, "Oh my gosh," but yeah, no, you gotta do what you gotta do, and Jesse's got a lantern, camping lantern that he charges up and everything, and he brings it, and, I have this little fake fireplace space heater, and we take it for that's what we set up in the shed in Windyville. So if we have to, we're prepared. Um,
um, Jen and Eddie. I think it was just Jen actually, but I would love to have an obelisk. So I
mm,
personally, I have an opposition for apps in particular, but
mm,
I would like to at least try it out, an obelisk, just to see if it's legitimately works.
right.
Um,
How much accurate answers you get or what you get from it.
right,
Exactly. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But I would love to have one. If anybody finds one on sale, let me know.
Now, I have always tried since the beginning of starting the group up to mix old school experiments or techniques in with the more modern things. I have been known to put baby powder or flour on the floor if they talk about hearing footsteps a lot in a certain area. I put wind chimes up. Now, I don't think you have ever seen them, Liz, but I do have them, and I'm not even sure where they're at. I
We
think they're in what?
we had discussed it. I don't think you've ever actually shown me. You're talking about the wind chimes, though.
No, I've got what's called weighted mylar strips. They are
Yeah,
what
no, I
the
have.
mylar balloons are made out of, only they're like strips that you twist and you put up for parties and that kind of stuff, but it's mylar.
Oh,
And I made them, I believe, 4.5 foot long. And I took a washer and I put it in the bottom of it. And then I just took straight pins and I put them in a doorway. And I put 4 or 5 of them. I think I've got 10 of them made, 8 or 10 of them. And I put them in a doorway. And if somebody has said they've seen somebody walking through all the time, seeing somebody come, through, I hang them up in front of that doorway and you see movement from it. But
that's.
once again, you have to make sure there's no breezes, no, nothing going on.
I didn't even know about this when we did the morgue because remember I had suggested we put something in that doorway between the main room and the kitchen because
I didn't have them on me. The reason for it is I did the wind chimes instead. Now,
right.
I have been known if it's a wide doorway to put 2 wind chimes up and have them a little bit apart, and that way, better chance of catching them. Um, like, remember when we went and did this cabin, guys, we went ahead of time and walked around and looked in it. And I was standing and I felt like somebody was in the kitchen area of this cabin. And Liz walked over and she's standing in the doorway looking into the kitchen. And I took a picture. And when we got home, it looks like somebody standing there right in front of her.
With a
So,
baby, I think. Didn't we
yeah,
think
it
it looked
looks
like
like
there
they're
was a woman holding
holding
a baby?
something. They look like they're holding, it's not very detailed. It's just kind of like form wise. But
That's when we discussed
because
putting
of
wind
that
chimes.
picture, I went and hung wind chime up in that doorway, if
Right.
you remember right. Yeah.
Yep.
So, but we do different things. Like I said, we work the coins and we do the K2 meter at the same time. We did an investigation at Wendyville, Missouri, which Jen, I hope you looked into the Cassidy rainwater story I told you about yesterday. But anyway, there is a meteor in Wendyville, and Gage and Reuben climbed on the very top, and it's there. It looks like a bowl indented in the top, and Gage took the coin and turned it inside that bowl, and that way it kind of kept it where it wouldn't go flying off. He just knew it was going to fly off. But anyway, and I think they worked the K2 meter at the same time
Yes.
up
Yes, it
there.
was a K2 up there on the meteor, right, Rue? Yeah, K2.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I was thinking. And so that was it. We've done some interesting things with it. And
So we can
remember,
elaborate on that story just a bit, though. When we got to the top of that meteor, there were what
that
looked
was
like
during the day when we was checking things out. Yes. Go
it
ahead.
looks like it looked like that there was an offering left there, like flowers, a few little pebbles, stuff like that, and it
Hmm.
looked like it was literally an offering. Um, some of us theorize that it might have been, a form of ritual that might have been going on. But I personally, as somebody who has been studying paganism or whatever, I think it looked like an offering
Looked
myself.
more like
Not
an offering. And I agree because they had certain, I can't remember 'em now, had certain flowers.
yes,
Remember?
certain
Yes.
flowers in it. Yep.
Yes. And
And so whenever he was flipping that coin, though, he was asking very precisely, was this an offering that was left here? And the coin would answer yes. He'd ask again, it was the same answer. And then I think he even did it a third time, but I'm not 100%
well, I
sure.
think he used it the opposite. Instead of an offering, he asked if it was something else, and it said no. And then he said, so it was an offering, and it said yes. if I
That's what it
remember
was.
correctly. Yeah.
Yep, I think
And of
that's it.
course, then I stood back as Reuben and Gage climbed down off of the meteor. I just knew it was going to be one of these, oh, and boom, 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 they went, but it didn't happen. They did
I
really
am
well.
surprised it didn't happen.
But
Gage, you guys have to meet Gage. Gage is
you will be meeting Gage here. Yeah.
he
But
is a he is a young man. At the time he was a kid. I know he probably doesn't want me saying that, but he's just a kid. Okay.
he's getting ready
But
to turn 21, and so that makes him about 18. No, 19, going on 19 at the time. Yeah.
so like I said, he is a kid.
Mhm.
He's the same age as my
Oh, well,
kids,
yeah.
so
I mean,
but
my oldest daughter, she's 45, and I still consider her a kid, you know?
exactly.
She's
Exactly.
a kid.
So
So,
Gage though, being or doing what kids do, decided he would just scare the crap out of me also, hanging off the side of this meteor. Okay, no, and
yeah.
I don't mean like oh look at me. No, I mean he was trying to stay out of a film shot, laid down and rolled over to the side of the stone and was hanging on like I don't know 30 feet up in the air. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my
Okay.
god,
Our thumbnail that we've got, that when Liz advertised what the show is going to be tonight or things like
oh
that,
yeah,
that's what we're sitting on, is the
it's
meteor.
a meteor. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, a little bit of story behind the meteor. My grandmother lived in Windyville, and I don't know if, I think it was 1906, and then they left in 1908. But her and a sister and a couple of neighbor kids, two or three neighbor kids, was going to this woman's house in town. And I don't believe it wasn't even Windyville at the time.
It was called
Later on, it was
Platt.
named Windyville. Yeah, it was called
It was
Platte County. They were walking through this field, and they were going to go to this woman's house, and she taught, was a teacher. They were going to school, so to speak. And when they got there, up on this slightly hill, there was just a few trees, but there wasn't a lot. But there was this huge rock, and it was steaming. Now, I asked my grandma, I said, what did it look like when you first seen it? And she said it was steaming, and it looked like somebody had poured a sidewalk all the way around it. It had melted when it hit the ground. Now, over the years, that has been chipped away, that sidewalk. Also, the government came and took a sample of it, and they put down a brass plaque, and it was about this big around. It, to me, it looked like a big nail, and they put it down in the ground. And when the church that's built next to it now bought it, that came up missing. And at one time they had a sign, and it said Windyville. Um, what was it called, Liz? Do you remember the sign that? Oh, gosh, something Rock. But anyway, they
okay.
call it Lonesome Rock. There we go.
That's it. Lonesome.
Lone
Yes.
Rock. Lone Rock is what they called it. And
Yes.
grandma
Yes.
was
Yes.
like, nope, it's a meteor. And she had seen it. And so I knew it. Every time, ever since I was a kid, I've got pictures of me on it little. I've got pictures of me and my mom on it when I was younger. I've got pictures of my kids on it. I've got pictures of my grandkids on it. But every time I have went there, the energy is just awesome. It's just
Okay.
calming.
I'm just gonna throw this out there. Remember how I was all like 30 feet up in the air?
Mhm.
I googled Lone Rock, so I'm gonna share my screen real quick so you guys can see just how
Mhm.
accurate I am on this.
Okay.
100 feet long, 60 feet wide, and 30 feet tall, with
Yep.
a large pan-like hole at the top.
I call it a bowl. It looks more like a bowl imprint in the top
Yes.
of it. Yep. Yeah,
Um,
it's very interesting. A lot of history.
Windyville, the town is known for its abandoned buildings, including an old cannery, and for stories of ghostly activity such as screaming from the cannery, laughter at Lone Rock Cemetery, and footsteps in the building,
Hmm.
according to a 417 magazine article.
Right. And
The church,
across the street is a cemetery, and it's called Lone Rock Cemetery. It used to be called Platt Cemetery. Um, I don't know if it was ever called Windyville Cemetery, but
no,
I do know it was Platt. Now there, it really, I think it's because the weeds are up on that high. There you go. There's a picture of people standing in front of it. Uh,
children actually. So,
yeah,
but this is the church that bought the property and built next to it, and then suddenly that sign was gone. So,
yeah, yeah. The sign was gone. The marker was gone. They cannot run you off of it, the property. I've had them come and try to act like they were going to, and I just let them know, hey, I've been coming here since I was a kid, and I know that this is public. There's no trespassing signs. They can't put no trespassing signs up there. But the cemetery across the street from it, it's been told that there's a witch buried there. I know a lot of stories from Windyville. The whole town has been haunted, a lot of paranormal activity. My grandmother told me all kinds of stories from out of there. But yeah, the meteor, unless people don't know it's meteor, they just think it's a big rock, and it's not.
just wanted to point out real quick that Native Wild Man came in and said hi.
Well, hey, Sean, good to see you. I don't know that Sean's ever came in before.
Not that I know of.
Yeah,
So go ahead, though. I didn't mean to
he's
interrupt you. I just want to make
that's
sure we
fine. Sean
acknowledged you.
lives in Kansas, and he'd be a very good one for you to get on an interview too. So we might have to get a hold of you, Sean. I know you
Mm-hmm.
do the work and things, but we'll have to get something set up and get you on here.
He says, I'm a wizard, mind you.
Yes, he is. He has a channel. If you can, Dina, look up Native Wildman and see if you can throw his link in. He has all kinds of teas and stuff, and I think his show's called Tea Time, isn't it? Native
I don't know.
Native Wildman.
Also, while you're at it, Dina, if you don't mind, can you share Jen and Eddie's channel one more time for me, please? Because my stupid thing will not share the links. So frustrating. Dina, also share yours, please. So apparently
No,
she's the only
Dina,
one that
we
can share
don't
it.
want you in there. No.
I
Definitely
don't
throw
know
you in.
why she's the only one who can share anything, though. It's weird.
Well, she's a mod, and I'm on my
Tea
phone.
Time Tuesday.
Do
Tea
what?
Time Tuesday.
Tea Time Tuesday. Okay, that's the name of his show. But he is very he works with spirits and things a lot, and he's just awesome. I think Sean is just awesome. He has been on John's show, Crossroad. Keep calling Crossroads because of the church here. Crossover Paranormal.
Oh,
Sean
gotcha.
has been on there a few times, but no, it's we've done a lot. I do it. Sometimes I'll get a wild hair. Oh, let's try doing this and just see what kind of response we get or what we do, and let's try moving this over here. And one thing I do all the time is when I work the rods or when I work the spirit box, I will ask, in a sense, the same question, but it's
Mhm.
worded differently to see if I get the same answer.
Yep.
I should get the same answer. If I don't, then I'm thinking, okay, and I will go back to the way I asked it the first time and see what kind of response I get then. I mean, we do stuff like this, and we definitely go through and debunk as much as we can. And it just takes time and it's monotonous sometimes. But I learned the hard way, and I talked about it on Eddie and Jen's show yesterday that we were on. if you're tired, you haven't slept for a couple days, I don't care
Hey,
how much it
Cody.
sounds like a good idea. Do not. Hey, Cody. Do not go in and try to examine any of your pictures or your videos because it messes with you every time.
You turn into a total goofball, is what you do. What
Yeah,
is that?
yeah. And you swear you hear yourself being called a bitch or something over that. Spirit box. Did they say that? I'll run it back, But yeah.
We did think that.
Oh,
Did we
yes.
ever did we ever actually debunk that, or did we decide that's what was said?
Everybody was getting it.
Yep.
Three of us
Okay, that's
was
what I
getting
thought.
it. Three of us was getting it. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
But
all
yeah.
right. Well,
Do you
Cody,
guys
before we
have
get
any
out of
more
here,
questions about what we do, how we experiment, or anything? Do you have any ideas, suggestions for us to use?
yep,
We
we're
can
all
do it.
about that.
Yeah. Anything new? Offer any suggestions that you may have.
While we're waiting,
Unless it costs us a
Cody,
lots of money, and then, we'll have to put that off until we get the money.
mhm, says I've not been doing as much spirit work since my dad and uncle passed away, and I've had my shields up to block it out.
Yeah, I understand that.
They do, Jen. They really do. She's saying Etsy has some awesome paranormal equipment. We know what you meant. Hey, Cody, if you're able to, share your link here too, baby doll,
He's got to be a
to your
mod, honey.
YouTube.
He's got to be a mod.
Oh, yeah.
Dina, go in and
Nina!
look for Cody's vlogs,
Vlogs Adventure.
adventures. Okay, I was getting ready to say, is it investigations or adventures? I couldn't remember
Yeah.
which it was, and put it in. This Cody
GOP
is
warrior.
Eddie and Jen's son,
Yeah.
and he has his
Um,
own.
yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. I don't mean to keep interrupting you.
I'm reading what
Uh,
Dina's got.
we are the same way. We want to see about those boxes as well, especially those of us who really hate the SB7.
You shade Cody, did you, Dina? Okay. That's a new term for me. Oh, she said she shared him already.
Oh, I didn't even see it. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
So, all right. Well, I guess that will be it for the night. Oh, well, Sean says, and I just found out that a lady I know just passed away a week ago. Goodness gracious.
It happens. It seems like it comes in strings.
Threes.
Yeah. Always it's threes. And yeah, I hope mine stops at three because if I get a fourth one, I'm like, oh, Lord, I got two more to go.
Yeah, Dina. I'm one of the people who can't stand that. That noise is too much. Like it overwhelms me.
Yeah.
It's and I don't even. It's so hard to decipher any words out of it because all you hear is,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
That is if it completely stops and you can hear it clear.
right.
Yeah. But no, I did learn the hard way. Try to keep your voice recorders away from your speaker because, and you might think, oh, it's too far out. No, it's not. It's
Yeah, no, it's not.
yeah.
Oh,
Well, at least she did have a long life. If she didn't pass young.
oh. Every time I go to share one, the comments they jump on me.
Yeah.
Oh, there it goes again. Oh, she was a witch.
Oh,
I'd like to know her story a little more.
yeah. You have to come on and talk about her. If she would like to be talked about. Maybe she didn't want to be talked about, but
True. Well, thank you, Eddie. All right, guys. Well, I guess that's it for the night. And I'm not sure that we are going to have a show Thursday for Cryptid. Steven and I haven't really discussed that much. But for sure, we'll be back on Monday. Hopefully, I will have a new guest that will come on. And she said that she was able to take off the antenna of the SB7 and it helps with the white noise. I wonder if we just don't pull ours up, if it will do the
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah. That I when I was playing it earlier, I didn't have it up even.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But anyways, thanks everybody for coming in, and we'll see you for sure next Monday. Don't forget to come in on the 16th because
Oh
Dina
yeah.
is going to be on, and she and Vicky have a little rod show that they're going to want to put on for everybody. It's going to be
Yeah.
fun.
You're gonna hear banjo music. Dun 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 dun.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
all right, guys. We'll talk to you later. Have a great one.